Assalamualaikum and a very good day I wish to all of you. As well we know in Skudai had identified several things to be turned down as they are derelict and unsafe, but it's the historical building. Thus, we are here to negotiation about this issue, which is tearing down the old building or not. I will introduce those who will be joining in this negotiation. Welcome Shafiqah and No Anis, who are representative from Heritage Society. And welcome to my college, Brendan Albert, Muhammad Shafiq, and I, Sylviana, who are representative from Municipal Council. Without wasting time, let's start negotiation. As we know, the old Abaddon building will be overgrown with brush, which cause the condition of the building to look dilapidated and creepy. It makes the surrounding residents and tourists uncomfortable. In addition, this old building can also be a habitat for dangerous animals and pests such as snake, rat, cockroach, and so on. The residents and tourists will not go near the building. The view of the building is also not pretty, as it looks dilapid- dil- dilapidated as opposed to nowadays. The rapid development done around it become it a short age. Therefore, it should be demolished for the beauty of the surrounding and provide comfort to the surrounding residents and tourists. So, what about you, Shafika? Do you think this old building should be turned down or not?
In my personal opinion, history building can provide example and lesson to the community, especially to teenagers who have a weak spirit of patriotism. Although some of the old building only show black events, if we appreciate the history behind the building and take lesson from the event that have happen. We will move forward without repeating the mistakes that have happened by previous society. For example, Kota Formosa in Malacca, a stronghold of the Portuguese army built after capturing Malacca can be used as a lesson. This capturing due to the problem of unity take weakness of the leader and the weakness of the Malacca army itself. Our country can also be a country on par with other development country if we do not take this matter lightly and take lesson from the history of our country. Therefore, history building in our country do not need to be demolished. So, what about you, Brandon?
It is true that this building have a lot of history to it, and I know that it is important to preserve the lesson that this history bring for the community, because the building in a sense is part of our community identity. However, as of right now, the building in question are not doing that. Instead, it only making the community look bad, like what Diana mentioned before. We received multiple reports of drug addict using the building as a shelter or heaven. Of all the people in the world, this is the one that living in the historical building of yours. This is not the image you want to show to the world if you want to make that building represent your community. I say, let's just demolish the building to save us from further embarrassment. Because even if you kick out the drug addict, they're going to keep coming back. They already break the law by doing drug, so it is not far-fetched to assume that they will do even more trespassing. What do you think, Anis?
In my opinion, the building should be maintained without having to be demolished because aesthetic values and cultural artistic values can be acquired through historic buildings, which is the delicate architecture that, that patterns that patterns the national cultural heritage can be seen closely on the historic building. The creativity and finesse of our nation architecture in the past can be appreciated by all of us. Thus, the uniqueness and beauty of culture can also be appreciated. The close example that can be taken is the unique and beautiful carving on the wooden walls of traditional Malay houses found in Malaysia such as Minangkabau House, Tiang 12 Kelantan House, and Limas House. Most of the colonizers who colonized and conquered us that greatly influenced the architecture, artistic values, and everything. So, I stick to my stand to defend this building from being demolished. How about you, Shafiq?
Alright, thank you, Anis. With changing time, it is but natural that the look and feel of neighborhood change. More space is required as the neighborhood spread and community change to more modern structure. All dilapidated buildings that are no longer in use unnecessarily occupy prime real estate space, which hampers the development of the entire area. Demolition is therefore not destruction, but renewing your property for positive growth and change in your community. Demolition is definitely environment friendly, even if you don't understand it as a layperson. Many old buildings have asbestos as part of the structure, which is how considered as a hazard both for you and your neighbor. Similar, Similarly, old chemical factories and abandoned gas stations contribute to the pollution of an area. Demolition experts can assess the condition of such building and the degree of pollution they are causing if required. Such building should be demolished to maintain a clean and hygiene environment for the entire community. Old, shabby buildings in a decrepit condition certainly do not add to the aesthetic of a place. When people in your community are trying to give a modern look to the neighborhood, you should you too should do your bit and consider demolishing your ramshackle property. Even though it is sad to see the old building being torn down, it is often the only option left to beautify the neighborhood and give it a modern look. How about you, Shafika?
That's true, Shafiq. History building can attract tourists to visit because of its economic value. This is because of the historical building and release will be focus of foreigner and domestic tourists. Through this measure, the tourist industry will grow and further increase the inflow of foreigner money into the country. The country economy will also grow and we can penetrate the global market. For example, the railway station in Kuala Lumpur. This can be attract tourists to see for themselves the unique and the beauty of the building. This can also prove by the pro- proven that say who there is sugar then and art. Therefore, we as Malaysians should be proud of the old historical building in our country and we should not just look at the remain of the his building with one eyes. What your suggestion for this issue, Brandon?
We know it is a huge loss for you guys if we demolish this building, so we're willing to compromise with you guys in exchange for your cooperation with our plan. If we're talking about strictly monetary factor, you guys do not need to worry about the damage it brings toward the economy here, because we will pay the exact estimated amount that is lost from the demolition of this building. We assure you that we will consider the future prospect that this building have into consideration when estimating the reimbursement amount. If the amount of money is not to your liking, we can try to increase it as long as it not exceed our budget. We can use that money to build a new building or preserve the other historical building. What do you think, Anis?
To protect this building, I think we can turn the historical building as a center of attraction and also tourists. As we know, tourists, regardless of domestic and foreign, are very interested in visiting the historical building, historical places, and also interesting place. Therefore, we can take this opportunity by doing renovation on this old building by making it as a historic building like a museum that displays certain relics and history about Johor Bahru. In addition, we can also be we can also make this building an interesting place to visit, which is by renovating the building into a place that filled with interesting and beautiful mural. Thus, the place will be an attraction to the Malaysian community itself and tourists, which is will be one of the place that they want to visit. What what about you? What about you, Shafiq? What do you think?
All right, thank you, Anis. Perhaps we turn the old building to do the museum, something like historical. This maybe we might use it as a green area. In many countries like England, Australia, Germany, Belgium, the concept of green area is popular. They explore healthy city planning and define it as an effective tool for achieving sustainable health and well-being in humans. It has been observed in many empirical studies that the varied type of green environment influence and help in improving the overall life satisfaction of resident or community, including their well-being, amenity, society, health, and comfort. It is important that this type of green environment are publicity accessible to provide space of social interaction for residents and community. The green space have diverse classification and each provide its own value and benefit. Thus, for the exploration of green environment or area is critical to ensure higher accessibility, usability, and functionality of a green area for further resident and community. In many residential and community green space areas are buffers between built and exterior surrounding. In addition, multi-unit residential development have focused on brand value and aesthetic aspect and ignore the importance of natural space within the living environment. However, the importance of green space in resident community has been recognized by residents and in some community they are developed and protected voluntarily. Hence, it is essential to understand the importance of green space for sustain of the well-being of residential community and their overall development. How about you, Shafika?
Yes, that's true, Shafiq. I think historical building can gazette it as a state heritage in addition to ensuring it is preserved after upgrading. Many important structures and monuments across the country have been placed under the Heritage Art through the Government Gazette. Among them, the Sungai Batu Art Geological Sites. The proper preservation of historical value by the responsible parties will at the same time hide the country appreciate uh, appreciation for the recognition given by the world body because the guess for such recognition is not an easy task. What do you think about that, Diana?
I do agree with all the suggestion from you all, and for my suggestion, if this old building is demolished, then we can make a new settlement and new building. A true Although the process requires a lot of fun, but the return are very profitable. For example, the value of land will increase, and new building can also be rent to local entrepreneur, thus improving the local economy. In addition, these new buildings are able to attract domestic investor to invest and tourists if this building managed or developed well. What do you think, Anis?
I think we also can hold community activity service in the area. Community service or activity, one of the social activity, one of the activity that we can do to lift up the heritage building. Gotong Royong is one of the social activities and community service that can be held that involves the community. Weekly Gotong Royong can be held to lift up to atmosphere in the old historic building, as well as to ensure the cleanliness of the surrounding. To attract more attention from the surrounding community to do gotong royong activities, we can invite volunteer organizations to work together to make this gotong royong activity can be success. Apart from that, other social activities are to hold learning classes such as composition classes, art classes to increase the knowledge of the local community and at the same time can take advantage of the old building with useful activities.
Okay, for the alternative, we might be perhaps leave the building in questions alone, or maybe proceed with demolitions of the building imperiously. So, for the solution, how about the Shafika?
I think for the solution for this issue is historical building can gather it as a state heritage in addition to ensuring it is preserved after upgrading. What about you, Anis?
From what I said just now, I think whole community activities or service in the area is the best solution to make that the old building can be protected from being demolished. How about you, Brandon? What your solution?
Like I said before, we're willing to repay the Heritage Society for the loss of the building, and we assure you that it will be in a fair amount. If you disagree with the amount, we can discuss further later to increase it, but it will have to fall within our budget. We really appreciate it if you guys accept the demolition of the building after hearing this generous offer, as it will make our work easier.
After taking into account the opinion of both parties and reaching an agreement, whole community activity and service in the area is the best solution that can be taken. This is because the problem of students skipping school and the problem of drug addictness can be curbed because this place is taken care of by the local community and at the same time it's bring benefit to the resident. It strengthens the friendship between the local by doing various activities. That's all from us. Thank you.